Obama administration speaking out against the Trump agenda, but not everyone's happy about that. Today, the Wall Street Journal board slammed President Obama for criticizing his successor after just 10 days in office. Let's bring in Congresswoman Linda Sánchez, Democrat from California. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me, Greta.
How long are these protests going to go on?
I don't know. I think as long as we have bad policies that are being executed via executive order, you're going to see pushback from people that are unhappy.
Do you hear anything on the Hill from your Republicans? I don't know if you talk to the Republicans across the aisle about whether
I do.
Okay, good. Whether they are in any way distressed by the fact that that these are being done by executive order, as promised. Now, President Trump did say he was going to do that instead of going to Capitol Hill and having it done by legislation.
I think a lot of my Republican colleagues are feeling a little uneasy because they're not given information before these executive orders come out, and so they're having to scramble to respond once they get inquiries about what is going on. I think there is a lot of consternation that the president is not working in a cooperative manner, even with his own party in the legislative branch, and it shows that there is a real lack of cohesion on their side of the aisle. So, have
you met the president?
I met him at the inauguration, as a matter of fact.
And do you think you'll be able to talk to him? I mean, and work with him? I realize you're not going to always agree on different sides of the aisle, but do you think you can work with him?
You know, I had hopes that I could work with him on areas of mutual concern. I think there are areas of potential common ground.
Like?
Infrastructure. I think there isn't a member of Congress that wouldn't like to see our roads, bridges improved. I personally had hoped that Ivanka Trump was serious about trying to get some relief and some help for working families, working women in particular. That's an area that I work a lot on the Ways and Means Committee. But I think what we've seen in the first 10 days of his administration is not a spirit of cooperation, not a spirit of reaching out, even to his own party, to be fair. And in judging just his actions, not his words, but his actions, makes me very distrustful that there will be any degree of real attempt to work with Democrats.
How do you factor in that? I mean, to me, if looking back, that there's no surprise. I mean, he's doing exactly what he ran on. There's absolutely no surprise. And then as soon as he's elected, there are people who are taken to the street and protesting, which you have a First Amendment right to peaceful protest. But what's the surprise?
Well, that's a great question, but, I read interview after interview of people who voted for Trump, and then he said, but, you're an immigrant to this country, why would you vote for Trump? Oh, he doesn't really mean that he's not going to build the wall, or you're a blue-collar worker, oh, he's not really going to take away my health care through Obamacare, and he's doing it. I don't understand the disconnect between people who didn't listen to what he said on the campaign trail and his actions now.
What do you, the Wall Street Journal, which is, of course, a conservative newspaper. The editorial page is conservative. The news section is news. The editorial page blasting President Obama for speaking out 10 days into the administration. Typically, or usually, or if there's such a thing, presidents give each other a little breathing space.
Yeah, and I think President Obama, in his last few public speaking engagements, made very clear that he intended to sort of live a quieter life once he was out of office. But he did say there was one caveat, that if he saw President Trump come in and go against core American values, that he would be vocal about it, and one of those areas that he talked about was immigration. And so it's not a surprise to me, and in fact, I think it's great that President Obama is raising his voice to say this is not how America operates. These are not American values. What you're doing does not make our country stronger. What it does is it penalizes whole groups of people that you paint with a broad brush, and it actually jeopardizes our security.
He dialed back the immigration thing to let people with green cards return home. They have a right to be here, but I mean,
well, that's the current status of the law. So
no, I'm just saying that. I mean, the rollout. I think everyone agrees the rollout. Whether no matter how you feel, I think everyone probably should agree, even if you like what he did, is that the rollout was bad.
Oh, many Republicans agree with him and don't think there was anything wrong with it at all. And so I don't think that you can say that that's a common sentiment shared by members of Congress.
Anyway, well, it's going to be an interesting time, and well, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you'll come back.
I will. Thank you for having me.
Ahead, looming brawl in the Senate over to the Supreme Court. Both sides starting to dig in their heels. Who blinks first?